Well, welcome to everyone today. My name is Damon Bramich, and with me is Sifu Matt Stampe from Washington, D.C. And today we're going to have a chat about form training, how many times reps, maybe invest in loss, and a few other things. So I hope you enjoy the show, and you're most welcome to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. And please leave your comments below. Cheers. Okay, Matt, let's have a little talk about invest in loss. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
Invest in loss. When the very first style of Tai Chi I learned was the Chu Manching style. It's very popular around here in the Washington, D.C. area. We have Robert Smith, Ben Lowe's come here, done a lot of seminars. All, it was the first style I learned. So I read all the Chu Manching books and they talk about invest in loss. And when we practiced, we practiced with the kind of like the mantra of like, oh, relax, 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 soft, song, 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 you know. And the when we did push hands, we did it extra soft, like super soft, invest in loss. And if someone pushes you, it was like, okay, I got tense or I tensed up. I have
Mhm.
to invest in that loss because it's going to help me get better
Yep.
until I start using it in the Tai Chi in a better way where, losing is not a bad thing. It just takes you back to the lab and see where you can do better, that
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Yes, yes. I think that's a pretty good analogy, to be honest. I kind of
Yeah.
like that. And that's the way that I view it, is that the loss is really the asset in the situation that you can capitalize on and that you can start to learn to use it to your advantage. And that's certainly the way that I've worked with clients, and people come in and then my life is no good and this has happened, I've hurt myself, blah, 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 blah. It's like, actually, this is an opportunity to make something better. And that's really important, is to take it as an opportunity. What I think there is a real problem is in some of the things that you said, that you only approach something with softness, that softness is only part of Tai Chi. So Tai Chi has to be yin and yang. So there has to be some connection and firmness. And really, when I've taught my students and myself, my training with my teacher is that there has to be a unified, integrated approach with loss. Okay, there has to be a unified, integrated approach with what sort of forces that you're using with another person, and really use the loss as a way of finding the weak link. And when we talk in Tai Chi form, you may have a weakness in your Tai Chi push hands. You need to try and bring that weakness back to your structure and the function form. But in this total loss and investing in loss situation, is that we can transfer this into other parts of our life. So
You
as
you all you always like to say something like faults in your push hands can be found in your form.
100%, 100%. And this is the way I was taught. So all those years I spent with Super
Mm.
privately, and we would do push hands, and oh my God, how many times? How many times was I pushed in my
Mhm.
life? So eventually I got him. And it's kind of like you get somebody in this situation, then you know them. Was it me learning myself or me learning him? I don't know. But kind of getting off the track there with the invest in loss statement, it's very transferable to life, just like
It's a
any other.
humility statement as well,
Yeah.
like on a mental level, like just be humble.
Mm.
It's okay that you don't win in your little push handsies in the park day.
Mm.
Um, but it can, I like pushing hands with a lot of different people and be like, okay, what did I do wrong with that person? Or was I being too tense? Or um,
Mm.
where was I not correct in my feet?
Feet, qua. back, shoulders, elbows, connection, didn't fill the space. There's many, many reasons. So building this. And the other issue is to invest in loss, you need to work and challenge each other. So there needs to be a process where one person is challenging another, and it doesn't need to be hard. We're not going up there to mess somebody up, just trying to make the person more connected to themselves.
I always like the posture testing kind of thing where the teacher comes around and like pushes you and shows you where you're weak, and then they make that adjustment. Then they push you again, and you feel more solid and connected.
Yes, I think I'd like to take that one bit further, is that that's a static way of doing this. But in push hands, we're not doing it static. We need to test somebody in motion. That's where the real skill is found. And from this point is that, again, there's all this flow-on effects, is that the statement is learn from your mistakes. Is really what we're saying here, is that if you don't do anything, you don't make mistakes, then you're not learning. So if you're approaching everything in a empty shirt manner, you're not going to learn anything. You know, you need to try and connect their contact point to the ground, their contact point to the waist. Stop worrying about going inside the other person. You need to be inside yourself. Push hands especially, as play as though there's nobody there. You need to stay present and in that motion. And again, coming back to this big picture of invest in loss, is that when something happens in your life that is truly negative and profound, it's better to seek a pathway that improves the situation for yourself. Okay, something happens with a family member, you do all that you can, but you need to make the best out of the situation. Like really, really make the best out of the situation. You know, the situation.
I was glad to see Bryson not cry when he got punched in sparring and got a bloody nose. He took it like a kid. He took it like it just happened to happen. He felt something, and we got tissues. He was fine. He went back into sparring, went 2 more rounds, and he was trying some techniques. So
Yeah,
I felt like it was an invest and loss moment, a rite of passage.
it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because it's a
Mhm,
natural passage for a child.
mhm,
You know, it's like fall down, get up.
mhm.
And you know, you should be really proud because how much he got from that personally
Mhm.
in life. So, and that's a fantastic crossover for him and for yourself, you know, as a parent, that how wonderful that is to see your kids get knocked over and get up,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and
Um,
not be deterred.
mm. I want to talk about Dalu and invest and loss too, because Dalu is almost like that bridge between free sparring and push hands. And when you play around with Dalu, it's actually a little bit more harder than push hands because you can get hit by an elbow or shoulder or really yanked um,
Mm, mm,
with some of those techniques.
definitely, definitely. And Dalu is the gateway to free push hands because there is a process that we're not talking about is counter for a 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 counter, you know, 4 times, 5 times. And one should resist moving into free push hands before they master Dalu. And once you master Dalu, free push hands is very natural. And you will respond naturally to each circumstance. I think the big missing link of a lot of people's push hands is double. And Dalu is a lot more than just shoulder elbow, shoulder elbow palm, roll back. And eventually you can do Dalu with full force. You can try and offload as much as you can into the other person because it's a level of testing. And also Dalu, if you've seen some of my photos, and then maybe there's some videos of me and Mackay doing it, and it needs to be done low, like really low. If you want to learn power, and you need to have speed and agility. And these are things that we're not talking about as a martial arts of Tai Chi, is that how do you learn speed and agility, accuracy? This was a martial arts that become famous because of someone's skill, not because he approached things in a weak, floppy manner.
Have you ever done the saber form empty-handed? Like a long boxing, cotton boxing kind of thing? Chuan Chuan?
Of course, of course. And then maybe talk about this is the sabers where you learn Jin Li Dian. That's the step. The sabers for fighting. And when we look at historic things, is that Yang Chen Pu didn't teach many people the saber. Okay. Fu
Isn't the
Zhong
knife
Wen,
traditionally when you teach the knife or saber is traditionally like the master's way of saying now you're complete.
I think it's just the master's way of saying that I'm going to start teaching you Kung Fu.
Mm.
Yeah, Chen Wei Ming, People's Saber, Fu Zhong Wen. I'm not too sure about some of the other lines because the saber's not our saber that they're doing. The Tai Chi 13 saber is matches the form perfectly. And the Tai Chi form 13 saber, you have to have Jin Li Dian. So there's no circling of a weapon. If you circle a weapon, you'll be killed. If I do a big circle movement instead of something like this, you will get killed. This is a dance. It's like the Tai Chi sword is more of a dance. And you've seen our two men say, it is explosive. It is a fighting weapon. The sword is for calligraphy, the saber's for fighting. And the family didn't teach many people the real martial arts part of it. And you're 100% correct. I advise people to practice the saber without a weapon. There's much to be learned in this. And your non-saber hand has to have Jin Li Dian. And then you have to have Chan Ji. And the saber teaches you this properly. And the saber has many Fa Jing movements in it. The saber is the old way. There's Fa Jing in most of your strikes. There's stamping, there's jumping. They're there.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Slap
there.
kicks.
And just look at the way I'm doing the saber and compare it.
Mm-hmm.
Here, and we're off the track a little bit with the invest in loss, but come back to Dalu. Dalu is significant. It is significant in your training, okay? And it's important to learn. So if I talk about our training process together, you're in the position you need to start learning Dalu and working with them, because it's going to give you so many more insights about why the waist needs to work, why you need to have shoulder elbow pump, why you need to roll back in the way that I'm showing you. And because if I offload force in you and you need to step, Dalu gives you the goods. First, you learn it in perfect lineal, square cross fashion. And then later you learn how to swing. You need to learn how not to commit your your weight first. You need to wait till the force is applied. And that's a huge skill. That's a really
Sorry, my
big
printer just started going off for some reason. Um, Circling back to invest in loss, a lot of people say, a lot of it's about releasing the tension too. Now, men, we naturally are way more tense than women. And so I can see that, we need to understand like there's different kinds of strength. There's the Li strength of the muscle, tendons, and bones. There's the Qi strength, kind of like an internal power, internal force. And then there's E strength, the power of our mind and brain and nervous system. So like the Qi is more like working with the breath. And so there's that saying, Yi, Qi, Li, and they all work together. And that's what's happening when you're doing your Tai Chi. You can't neglect the muscle, tendons, and bones and just be all Qi based or Yi based. They all have to harmonize together.
Yeah, so that's Yang Chenpu's 10 points. Internal, external have to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Tai Chi is about wholeness. It's not about this, or this. It's about wholeness, holistic. You can't have internal without external. This is why I say the highest level of practice is found in large frame, not in small frame. You need to be adaptive to every situation. How does that happen? We come back to the invested losses. It means that the real master has lost more times than he's won. Okay, eventually, there's no one that rivals him. And that's because his body, his natural response always puts him in the position of advantage. And I mentioned the other day, I did an engineering trade. I learned from a guy who taught me my trade. And he actually fought for Germany in the Second World War. He did his trade and he was in his youth. And it was really interesting. This guy had so much knowledge. He didn't have to try. It was just natural. He'd been working for more than 50 years in this industry. And he was a craftsman and natural. And I don't know if you've ever seen that maybe in acupuncture, the acupuncture master, they just see the person and they just go, and oh, boop, 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 boop. And the person just changes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's truly amazing. A lot of people want this, but you need to work for that. You need to earn it. And this, take me back to that original question. Kind of got off the track.
I think we were just more talking about just Dalu and everything. And
Yeah, and the process of Dalu.
Mhm.
Yeah, and in the family, I learned Dalu with my Kung Fu brother. And this is really interesting because we are the senior students. Most of the other students learn from us. Sifu didn't teach it to everyone. This is one of these things that is the nuts and bolts of the system. You were there learning this after several decades with your teacher. And it's important to understand. And you need to be able to move within all the requirements of Tai Chi. And if I was to recommend anything, if someone wants to do push hands tournaments or MMA or anything like this and use Tai Chi, you need to work with somebody who knows Dalu inside and out, perfect, that knows the 20 odd variations that you can have into this, who is able to practice it full flight. Okay, who's able to really go for it in this movement. And at some period in your push hands, you need to practice under pressure. And you start off, 10%, 20%, 30%, and you feel it with me when we practice. I suddenly become so heavy you can't. It's like I'm just giving you a little taste of what's there to come. When we do the walking, remember, let's start switching it on. So connecting those three forms of energy so they're all one, and then that clamps you down. That restricts your ability to move because it'll break your chain somewhere and you have much more difficulty connecting. And these are all fantastic stuff. Now, I just want to swing around maybe a couple of minutes. And Matt, maybe it'd be great to share a little bit of this philosophy, invest in loss, and your experience in your clinical practice, because you've talked to me on a number of occasions, how that educating the mind helps people with the chronic problems, helps people with adjusting to an acute injury. So some of this philosophy is so valuable and crosses over into all other areas of life.
Few areas where I bring invest in loss to my patients is kind of where I tell them to kind of scan their body from head to toe and look for tension and try to release it. And to tell them to relax so they don't create like a traffic jam in their body of blood flow and chi flow. Because if your muscles are tense, your blood flow is not going to be smooth.
I love that.
Okay.
Traffic jam.
But there's another area where I tell them to invest in loss is, especially when they're new patients, is that when you get acupuncture, like on the first time, it can actually make you feel great. You're going to leave the clinic feeling great. You might feel nothing at all, or you might feel worse.
Yes.
And so I tell them, if you feel worse, give the treatment 24 hours. This is kind of going to be an invest and loss moment, because it's usually typically you take one step back, but after that 24 hours, you're about two steps forward, because there's been like the sludge moving through the channels, and the old aches and pains kind of like working its way through as the blockage is breaking, and it can give you more signals. Plus the needles affects the nervous system, so you're just more aware of your nervous system. Okay. And so yeah, I try to leave them with that expectation. If we do feel more pain or worse, invest in loss. Let's work on our plan of more treatments, because one treatment is not a miracle. We got to stick to the plan to try to diminish pain or inflammation or whatever type of issue they're having.
Yes, but I'm sure you've had some miracles. Those clients that come in that one time and you don't see them for a couple of years, and they come back and they go, "You changed my life." And you've been thinking the whole time, what happened to them? Were they okay? Did I do something?
I had a few sciatic people, like they got cured on the first time. They said, "Whatever you did, I didn't need to come back."
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's awesome, but it's classic. It's classic. But this sort of thing, it flows on to everybody's life. And some people out there is probably going, yeah, this happens. But for me, in this year alone, I got totally destroyed. Social media. Someone hacked into our systems. Someone shut us down. Facebook mainly, 30 thousand followers. The business model destroyed. The school's Facebook was damaged. Coming in the most important part of the year. It's like, wow, it makes you so crazy. And we even got so far as linking people to the whole thing, but nothing could be brought back. And
I've had a couple of my domain names stolen.
Yeah, and
Had some
using
domain names stolen.
fake profiles being used, forums taken over by other people that are linked. It's just disgusting. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do? You get slashed on the battlefield, you're going to lay on the ground and roll around, or you're going to get up and use it as an opportunity. Like really use it as an opportunity. It's like, okay, I can start fresh. Wow, I have the opportunity to have a different place.
That
Didn't you?
also kind of helps with the different algorithms, the way these social media things work too. Like it obviously it worked. You got like the 30,000 followers and everything, and then after the hack, you start again, but you start fresh, and then it grows. When you put time and effort into something, it grows. And build it, people will come.
It is an interesting process, and
Mhm.
part of me thinks with some of those people in the 30,000, maybe they're not the people I want to be followed by.
A lot of them are bots because when you ask them to ask the questions
Ah,
to get into your forum, it just has random stuff. Like I just hit decline. See you. I don't. It's not. I'm looking for quality people. I'm not looking for mass numbers.
oh, look, most definitely, and someone told me once. Actually, my daughter did multimedia marketing and video
Mhm.
editing and stuff, and I remember her telling me that, oh, Dad, you need to follow people. I was following 30 people on Instagram. That's why
Mhm.
you can't get many followers. You're not following anyone. It's like, well, really want to follow anyone. I don't sit and look at my phone. Okay.
Mhm.
This guy here is a fantastic tool, but the worst enemy of your time. Absolute worst enemy of your time and your resources and your capacity to do things as a holistic person. Everything you do on that is external. It's not an internal process, it's external. And most of the stuff is, that's part of the reason I've got a different philosophy. It's like, yeah, I lost that, but what I gained is an opportunity to start again. Like really start again at the grassroots. We were in the process of developing a website and just making things different in a way that I have this wonderful opportunity to move forward and not be that same presence. And it's kind of funny, in my whole life changed because as you know, I finished my practice after 30 years working in the clinic, and I've always been involved in teaching Tai Chi since the very early 90s. And it's like I've set myself up in a life stage where I can now spend my time doing the things that I truly love, and
Mhm.
helping people in a different way, helping people to help other people. And that's a fantastic gift. And
Mhm.
coming back to the whole thing, invest in loss is really about learning from your mistakes, moving forward, moving forward. Okay, brilliant. I think we'll just leave it here for today, Matt. Lovely to see you again. Let's talk soon. Don't forget, guys, you can like, share, and subscribe. And please leave your comments below. And have a good day. All the best. Don't forget to train hard. Ciao. Bye for now.